In this video, I want to share with you about the law of vibration and money. So if you are starting a business or you are in business, then I believe this video will be very helpful. So let's first just talk about what the law of vibration is. So every cell in your body is vibrating, okay? And it has a certain frequency. And because of that, the matter that you attract into your life also has a similar frequency, or I may replace the word frequency sometimes with timeline, okay? And I'm gonna share something that I learned that made this very helpful. So number one is, you have different energy centers in your body. The one that's one of the strongest and actually influences other energy centers is your heart center. Okay, and what I mean by that is that, and you can look this up at the HeartMath Institute, there's more energy that comes in information that goes from the heart to the brain as opposed to the brain to the heart. Okay, so that's what I mean by influence. Your heart energy center has influence on other energy centers throughout your body. More importantly, when it's activated with elevated emotions, which I talk about in some of my other videos, joy, ecstasy, appreciation, what happens is that heart energy center sends out a magnetic field that's about 10 feet in diameter that can be measured with special instruments, but more importantly, affects matter locally and non-locally, meaning in all places, all of the time, okay? Now, where does the law of vibration come into this? As you're activating your heart energy center, as you're starting to feel gratitude and appreciation, which you might have to go through stages to learn this, but one way is if you're in negative states, just get into a state of neutrality, and when you feel neutral, get into states of appreciation. It's easier that way. But what happens is, and I'm going to share something with you, is that you can create, let's say this is a negative timeline, okay? And this is a positive timeline. Let me take my hand off the title there. So these timelines are different realities that you create based on your vibration, right? So that's what I was saying earlier. If you're in a negative state, and let's say that negative frequency, that state, that emotional state you're in, which you generate, right, from your heart center, creates a frequency of 2 hertz, then you're on that timeline, okay? That's the negative timeline. And what I mean by that is that you're creating the holographic universe for that timeline based on that energetic state, okay? Now, if you want to create a different timeline, one which has money, which has abundance, then you have to create elevated emotions, which elevates your frequency. And by elevating your frequency, what happens is you get into these elevated emotions. And if you create elevated emotions of appreciation for the thing that you want, feeling as if you already have it to the point where you have tears, where you feel like an appreciation sob. It's something I talked about in my blog years ago. You feel an appreciation sob for the thing you want. What happens is that as you're visualizing that specific aspect, that light or that sound, you're hearing, certain sounds that come from the information that you want to create with that emotion. What happens is not only are you sending the signal out, you're also becoming a conduit for it to download and come back to you, the ideas, the informations, the insights, the intuitions, and the telepathy to contact people that will bring you the money that you want. So this frequency is very important because it creates a brand new timeline where you have an abundant future, where you have a prosperous future. Now, I want to share a quick story about this. So I was going through this practice, and 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I ended up going on as a podcast guest on this gentleman's podcast. And I was telling him what we were doing with our business, and he said, why don't we do this together? Like, he would work with me. He had a strength, I had a strength. And I said, you know what, man? I said, I'm totally open. And this is like a multi-million-dollar deal we were working on. And what happened is the deal fell apart. I won't get into the details why. But a couple weeks after we had the initial conversation, everything just seemed like flowing, it was going to work. it fell apart. Now here's what's really interesting about this experience I had. Because I had the conversation with this gentleman, it opened my mind to another possibility that I hadn't thought of that we could be doing in the business. And so I'm gonna say on a regular week or month, I get about 8 or 9 or 10 appointments, sales conversations for our actual service. As soon as I took the idea that I got from that other person, right? Because I changed my frequency, which changed my timeline, right? What happened was, I was like, you know what? I want to see if we can do this ourselves. Changed a couple things. I made some really small changes, and I started to invite people into my calendar. And as of right now, I have 45 people lined up for the month of May, more than double what I had before. And we're probably going to hit 60 by the end of the month. So why is this relevant? Is that sometimes when you're creating this new timeline, okay, you're creating elevated emotions, you're visualizing, you're meditating, you're creating those elevated states where you feel gratitude, getting to the point where maybe you even sob, like an appreciation sob. Why an appreciation sob? Because when you appreciate something, it's a feeling that you normally elicit when you've just received something. So if you're receiving before you get and receive what you want by your emotion, you're changing your frequency and you're going to this elevated timeline, which is going to change your future. You're creating a new future. And sometimes when you're doing that, you might not think that you're seeing results. And what I'm going to share with you is that sometimes you will see the results, and sometimes things show up in your life, like this gentleman did for me, to show you what is that one last particle that's missing that needs to resonate. It was down here and it needs to resonate at the new frequency. And as soon as you get that one particle that shows you, it's like something you have to deal with in your environment. And it's like once you deal with it, once you resolve it, now everything is lined up at the new timeline. Once you do that, now you're resonating with the new opportunity on the new timeline so you can create your new future. So again, it does come from creating elevated emotions through your heart energy center by elevating the emotions and having the information that you're sending the signal for to create in your life. And that signal comes in either one of two forms. It's light or sound, okay? So once you do that often enough, you're going to start to see opportunities and ideas. And if you're open, what will happen is in your sensing from your heart center, what will happen is you will get more telepathic, you'll get more insight, and your intuition, the knowing of what to do next, will show up. Now this gentleman that I talked to, I wasn't even thinking of doing the interview, but once we chatted, he opened my mind to a new possibility. I made changes to the way we were doing our marketing, and therefore the results showed up. So I want you to think about how you can start using this in your life, okay? Thanks for watching. My name's Steve. If you got questions about anything I just shared in this video, please leave them in the comments below. I'm here to serve and help you. Also, I've got a new book coming out later this year. If you want to get in the waiting list, there's a link to the URL so you can join the waiting list. My name's Steve. We'll talk to you next time.